The alarm bells rang through Research Station Alpha like screaming metal birds. Commander Jake Martinez jumped from his chair and ran to the main control room. His boots hit the floor hard as red lights flashed everywhere. "What's happening?" Jake shouted over the noise. Lieutenant Sam Roberts was staring at his screen with wide eyes. His hands shook as he pointed at the display. "Sir, you need to see this. Long-range sensors are picking up something big." Jake looked at the screen. Dozens of red dots moved toward their position. Each dot was bigger than anything humans had ever built. The computer showed their speed and size. Jake's heart started beating faster. "How many ships?" Jake asked. "At least 50, sir. Maybe more. They're still too far to get exact numbers." Sam's voice was quiet now. "But sir, these energy signatures, they match our old records." Jake knew what Sam meant. 15 years ago, humanity had met another species for the first time. The Zephyrians were huge aliens that looked like walking nightmares. They had claws like swords and teeth like knives. They hunted other species across the galaxy for sport. "Are you sure it's them?" Jake asked. "Yes, sir. The computer is 98% certain. It's the Zephyrians." Jake closed his eyes for a moment. When humans first met the Zephyrians, it had been a disaster. The aliens thought humans would be easy to kill. They were wrong. Humans fought back harder than anyone expected. The Zephyrians lost many ships and ran away. Their leader, a creature called Krex, had sworn revenge before disappearing. "How long until they reach us?" Jake asked. 48 hours at their current speed," Sam replied. Jake opened the station's communication system. His voice went out. "To all areas of the research station. All personnel, this is Commander Martinez. We have a code red situation. Report to your emergency stations immediately. This is not a drill." The station only had 30 people. Most were scientists studying the edge of human space. They had some weapons, but nothing that could fight 50 alien warships. Dr. Amy Foster ran into the control room. She was the station's chief scientist. "Jake, what's going on? The computers in my lab are going crazy." "The Zephyrians are back," Jake said simply. Amy's face went pale. She had read all the reports from 15 years ago. She knew what those aliens could do. "How many?" "At least 50 ships. Maybe a full war fleet." Amy sat down hard in a nearby chair. "We need to warn Earth immediately." "Already working on it," Jake said. He turned to another officer. "Kelly, get me a direct line to Earth Defense Command. Priority Alpha." Lieutenant Kelly Brown started working at her station. Her fingers moved fast across the controls. "Sir, it's going to take a few minutes to establish the connection. We're pretty far out here." Jake nodded. Research Station Alpha was at the very edge of human space. It took messages 20 minutes to reach Earth even at light speed. If Earth wanted to send help, it would take weeks for ships to arrive. "Sam, what else can you tell me about their fleet?" Jake asked. Sam studied his screen more carefully. "Their ships are bigger than the ones from 15 years ago. Much bigger. The lead ship is almost twice the size of anything in our records." That was bad news. The Zephyrians had used their time away to build better weapons and stronger ships. Meanwhile, humans had been focused on peaceful exploration and research. "Sir, I'm getting more detailed scans now," Sam continued. "The lead ship, it's massive. The computer estimates it's over 2 kilometers long." Jake felt cold. The biggest human warship was only half that size, and they had none out here at the edge of space. Kelly's voice cut through his thoughts. "Sir, I have Earth Defense Command on the line." "Put them through," Jake ordered. A serious voice came through the speakers. "This is Admiral Troy Anderson at Earth Defense Command. Commander Martinez, what's your situation?" "Admiral, we have a Zephyrian war fleet approaching our position. At least 50 ships, possibly more. The lead vessel appears to be a new class of dreadnought. Time to arrival is 46 hours. There was silence on the other end. Then Admiral Anderson spoke again. "Confirmed, Commander. We're reading your sensor data now. This is significant. Sir, what are your orders? Should we evacuate the station?" "Negative. Commander, hold your position. I'm sending you some new information that might change things. Stand by for data transmission." Jake looked at his officers. They all seemed confused. "Hold position against 50 alien warships? That sounded like a death sentence. Admiral, with respect, we have 30 people and minimal weapons. We can't fight a fleet that size." "Commander, trust me on this. Things have changed since you've been out there. Hold your position and prepare for incoming data. We'll have ships to you within 36 hours. The transmission ended. Jake stared at the communication panel. Earth Defense Command wanted them to stay and fight. Either the Admiral had lost his mind, or something big had changed back home. "Kelly, start receiving whatever data Earth is sending us. Sam, keep tracking that fleet. I want to know if they change course or speed. Amy, gather all our scientists. We need to prepare for the worst." Amy stood up. "What should I tell them?" "Tell them the truth. The Zephyrians are coming back for revenge, and we're all that stands between them and human space." As his officers went to work, Jake stared out the main window. Space looked peaceful and empty. But somewhere out there, an alien fleet was coming to kill them all. The creatures that had once called humans weak prey were returning with enough firepower to destroy everything. Jake had read the reports from 15 years ago many times. He knew how the first contact had really happened. The Zephyrians had expected an easy hunt. Instead, they found humans who refused to die quietly. Captain Lisa Brooks and her crew had fought with such fierce determination that it shocked the aliens. Humans used tactics the Zephyrians couldn't understand. They adapted faster than any species the aliens had ever encountered, but that was 15 years ago. Now the Zephyrians were back with better ships and more weapons. And Jake's small research station was about to become the first target in a new war. He looked at his reflection in the window. Tomorrow he might be dead. But if Admiral Anderson was right, maybe humanity had some surprises of its own. Captain Lisa Brooks had been exploring space for 12 years when her ship found the hunting ground. The ESV Discovery was a small exploration vessel with only 40 crew members. They were looking for new planets when they detected strange energy readings. "Captain, we're picking up multiple ships ahead," said Lieutenant Mike Davis from his scanner station. "I count at least 20 vessels in formation." Lisa studied the display. The ships were unlike anything in human records. They were long and dark, with sharp edges that looked like weapons. Each ship was about the size of a human destroyer, but built differently. Where human ships looked practical and efficient, these looked designed to scare people. Any response? "To our communications?" Lisa asked. "Nothing, Captain. We've tried all standard frequencies. They're either not receiving us or choosing not to answer." Lisa made a decision that would change everything. "Take us closer. Slow and careful. Keep weapons powered but not targeted." The Discovery moved forward. As they got closer, the alien ships became clearer on their screens. They had strange markings along their hulls that looked like scars. Some ships had what appeared to be trophies attached to their outer walls. "Captain," called out Dr. Ray Phillips from the science station, "I'm detecting organic materials on those ships. Not just the crew, but actual biological components built into the hulls. What kind of organic materials? It's hard to tell from this distance, but the readings suggest bone and possibly teeth. Before Lisa could respond, the alien ships suddenly moved. They turned toward the Discovery with frightening speed. 20 ships spread out in a hunting formation that surrounded the human vessel. "Red alert," Lisa ordered. "All hands to battle stations." A deep voice suddenly came through their communications system. The words were translated by their computer, but the tone was clearly threatening. "Small prey ship, you have entered our hunting space. Prepare to be boarded. Your crew will provide sport for our young hunters." Lisa stood up from her command chair. "This is Captain Lisa Brooks of the Earth vessel Discovery. We are peaceful explorers. We mean no harm." The alien voice laughed. It was a sound like grinding metal. "Peaceful? Yes, all prey claims to be peaceful. It makes the hunt more interesting when they beg." "We are not prey," Lisa said firmly. "All species are prey to the Zephyrians. Some simply do not know it yet." The alien ships began moving closer. Lisa could see details now that made her stomach turn. The ships really did have bones and skulls built into their hulls. These were not just warriors. They were monsters who collected trophies from their victims. "Captain," Mike called out, "3 ships are moving to board us. They're extending some kind of docking tubes." Lisa had seconds to make a choice. Let the aliens board and hope they could be reasoned with or fight back against 20 ships with superior technology. "All weapons. Target the lead ship. Fire on my command." "Captain, we're outgunned 20-1, warned Commander Steve Walsh, her first officer. "Maybe, but we're humans. We don't give up easy." The first alien ship attached to their hull with a grinding sound. Lisa could hear cutting tools working through their outer doors. "Fire," she ordered. The Discovery's weapons hit the alien lead ship at close range. The aliens had not expected the humans to fight back. Their shields were down and their weapons were not ready. The human missiles punched through their hull and caused massive damage. "Direct hit, Captain. Their lead ship is venting atmosphere." But the other alien ships immediately responded. Energy beams hit the Discovery from multiple directions. The human ship shook as its shields absorbed the impacts. "Hull breach on Deck 7, reported the damage control officer. "We're losing atmosphere." Lisa realized something important. The aliens were trying to disable her ship, not destroy it. They wanted prisoners, not debris. "Target their weapons only," she ordered. "Disable, don't destroy." "Captain, that's not how space combat works," Steve protested. "It is if you want to survive. They're not trying to kill us quickly. They want us alive. That gives us an advantage they don't expect." The Discovery fought like no ship had ever fought before. Instead of trading powerful blows, they used speed and precision. They hit weapon systems and engines while avoiding the aliens' attempts to disable them completely. Dr. Phillips worked frantically at his station. "Captain, I'm analyzing their shield frequencies. If I can find the right frequency, we might be able to punch through their defenses." Meanwhile, the aliens who had boarded their ship were cutting through the inner doors. Lisa could hear them getting closer to the bridge. "Steve, take a security team and slow them down. Buy Ray some time." Commander Walsh grabbed a rifle and led 6 crew members toward the boarding point. Lisa could hear fighting in the corridors. Human voices shouted orders while alien roars echoed through the ship. "Got it," Ray suddenly announced. "Captain, set weapons to frequency 7.2 terahertz. Their shields can't handle that wavelength." Lisa ordered the weapon change. The Discovery's next shots went right through the alien shields. 3 more alien ships took damage before they could adapt, but the aliens had boarded other parts of the ship. Fighting was happening on 4 different decks. Lisa could hear the battle through her communication system. Bridge. This is Walsh. These things are big and fast, but they fight like animals. They expect us to run. When we stand and fight together, they get confused. That gave Lisa an idea. All hands. This is the captain. Form defensive groups of 4 to 6 people. Use the ship's layout to your advantage. These aliens hunt individuals, not organized teams. The tide of battle began to change. Human crew members worked together in small groups. They used the ship's narrow corridors and tight spaces to limit the aliens' advantages. The Zephyrians were bigger and stronger, but humans were smarter and more cooperative. Captain, the alien fleet is pulling back, Mike reported. They're moving to a safer distance. Lisa looked at her damage reports. The Discovery was hurt, but still fighting. More importantly, they had captured several aliens who had been trapped when their boarding tubes were damaged. Open a channel to the alien fleet, Lisa ordered. The same grinding voice came through the speakers, but now it sounded different, uncertain, impossible. Prey does not defeat hunters. We just did, Lisa replied. And we have some of your people. I suggest we talk. There was a long silence. Finally, the alien voice spoke again. You are not prey. What are you? We're humans, and we don't like being hunted. The conversation that followed lasted 6 hours. The aliens, who called themselves Zephyrians, had never encountered a species that fought back successfully. They were apex predators who had hunted across the galaxy for thousands of years. Their leader was named Warlord Krexith. He was furious that humans had damaged his ships and captured his warriors. But he was also fascinated. No prey species had ever organized effective resistance. The meeting ended with an agreement. The Zephyrians would leave human space and not return. In exchange, humans would release their prisoners and not follow the alien fleet. But as the Zephyrian ships departed, Krexith sent one final message. This is not finished, humans. I will return when we are ready. Next time, you will not surprise us. Lisa watched the alien ships disappear into deep space. She had saved her crew and her ship. But she knew the Zephyrians would be back someday, and next time they would be prepared for humans who refused to be prey. Dr. Amy Foster stood in the secure laboratory deep inside Research Station Alpha. The data from Earth Defense Command had arrived 30 minutes ago, and what she read made her hands shake. Everything she thought she knew about human military capabilities was wrong. Commander Martinez, you need to see this immediately, Amy called over the communication system. Jake arrived with Sam Roberts and Kelly Brown. They all looked nervous. The Zephyrian fleet was now only 36 hours away, and no one understood why Earth wanted them to hold their position. What did Earth send us? Jake asked. Amy activated the main display screen. Files and videos appeared showing things that seemed impossible. Soldiers moving faster than human eyes could follow. Weapons that bent light and space. Ships that could appear and disappear like ghosts. This is Project Genesis, Amy explained. It started 5 years after the first Zephyrian contact. Earth's leaders knew they would come back eventually. The first video showed a training facility on Earth. Soldiers were fighting against combat robots designed to move like Zephyrians, but these humans were different. They moved with perfect coordination, as if they could read each other's minds. Their reflexes were impossibly fast. How are they doing that? Sam asked. Genetic enhancement, Amy read from the data files. Scientists found dormant parts of human DNA that could be activated, parts that made humans better at fighting, thinking, and healing. The next video showed a soldier named Sergeant Ben Clark. He was hit by a weapon that should have killed him instantly. Instead, his body absorbed the energy and used it to heal his wounds. Within minutes, he was fighting again. "That's impossible," Kelly whispered. "No, it's evolution," Amy corrected. "Controlled evolution. They found ways to unlock human potential. That's been sleeping for thousands of years." Jake studied the technical data. "What about cybernetic integration?" Amy switched to another file. "Soldiers can now connect their brains directly to weapon systems and computers. They don't just use technology, they become part of it." The display showed Lieutenant Kate Miller in a new type of fighter ship. Her hands never touched the controls, but the ship responded to her thoughts. It moved through space like a living creature, dodging attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. "The ship phases through solid matter," Amy continued. "Something about quantum mechanics that I don't fully understand, but it means our fighters can appear inside enemy formations without warning." Sam pointed at another section of data. "What's this about ground forces?" "Major Chris Stone leads the enhanced infantry units," Amy explained. "They don't just fight like soldiers anymore, they hunt like predators." The video showed Stone's unit in action against simulated Zephyrian forces. The humans moved through the battlefield like shadows. They communicated without words and struck without warning. Every movement was perfectly calculated for maximum effect. "They're using pack hunting tactics," Jake realized, "like wolves, but with human intelligence and alien technology." Exactly. The enhancement program unlocked ancient human hunting instincts that civilization had suppressed. Combined with genetic improvements and cybernetic systems, they've become something new. Amy showed them more data about Earth's new defensive systems, space stations that could predict enemy movements, weapons that adapted to different types of attacks, ships that learned from every battle and became stronger. "The real breakthrough was understanding quantum mechanics," Amy continued. "Dr. Ray Phillips, who was on Captain Brooks's ship 15 years ago, led the research. They found ways to manipulate space and time on a small scale." "What does that mean in practical terms?" Jake asked. "Our ships can be in multiple places at once. Our weapons can hit targets before they're fired. Our soldiers can see possible futures and choose the best outcomes." Kelly looked confused. "That sounds like magic, not science." "Advanced science often looks like magic," Amy replied. "The important thing is that it works." Jake studied the fleet compositions. Earth now had ships he'd never heard of. The technical specifications made no sense according to everything he knew about physics and engineering. "How many enhanced soldiers are there?" he asked. "The data says over 1 million. Every major military unit has been upgraded. And they're not just soldiers anymore. They're something that makes Zephyrians look primitive." The most shocking revelation came in the final video. Admiral Troy Anderson himself appeared on the screen. But he looked different from any human Jake had ever seen. His eyes reflected light strangely, and his movements had an inhuman precision. "All military commanders above the rank of colonel have undergone full enhancement," Anderson explained in the recording. "We are no longer the same species the Zephyrians encountered 15 years ago. We have evolved beyond their ability to hunt us." Amy paused the video. "The Admiral sent this message specifically for isolated stations like ours. We're supposed to hold position because we're not really alone." "What do you mean?" Sam asked. Amy activated a new display that showed space around their station. Enhanced ships have been hiding in this system for weeks. They use quantum cloaking that makes them invisible to normal sensors. But they're there, waiting. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. How many ships? The data doesn't say exactly, but enough to handle a Zephyrian war fleet. Maybe more than enough. The implications were staggering. While the Zephyrians had spent 15 years building bigger ships and better weapons, humans had evolved into something completely different. They hadn't just improved their technology. They had improved themselves. There's more, Amy continued. The enhancement program includes something called adaptive evolution. Enhanced humans can change their bodies in real time to meet new threats. She showed them a recording of enhanced soldiers being exposed to different alien environments. Their skin changed color and texture. Their internal organs adapted to breathe different atmospheres. Their immune systems learned to fight unknown diseases within hours. They're not just enhanced humans, Jake realized. They're something new, something that can adapt to any threat. The Zephyrians think they're coming back to hunt the same. Prey they met 15 years ago, Amy said. Instead, they're about to encounter predators that make them look like children playing with toys. Jake looked out the window at empty space. Somewhere out there, invisible ships filled with evolved. Humans were waiting for the Zephyrian fleet to arrive. The aliens expected to find weak prey ready for slaughter. Instead, they would find hunters who had surpassed them in every possible way. How long until our backup reveals itself? Kelly asked. Amy checked the tactical data. 6 hours after the Zephyrians arrive. Earth wants to let them commit fully. To the attack first. Let them think they're winning, then show them how wrong they are. Jake nodded. It was a sound strategy. The Zephyrians would bring their full force against what they thought was a helpless human outpost. They would expose all their new ships and weapons. Then Earth's evolved forces would demonstrate just how much humanity had changed. What are our orders until then? Sam asked. Survive? Jake replied. Make the Zephyrians think we're the same. Weak humans they remember. Let them get confident. Then watch what happens when they meet the new apex predators of the galaxy. The next 36 hours would determine the future of both species. But for the first time since the alarm started. Ringing, Jake felt confident about the outcome. The Zephyrian war fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel exactly when their calculations predicted. Warlord Krexith stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, the Blood Hunter. His 8-foot frame was covered in ceremonial scars that told the story of 1,000 hunts across the galaxy. Target acquired, reported his weapons officer. One small human research station. No other ships detected in the system. Krexith smiled, showing rows of razor-sharp teeth. This was perfect. The humans had not even tried to evacuate their people. They were still the same cowardly prey species he remembered. Scan the station for life signs, he ordered. 30 humans. Detected, Lord Krexith. They appear to be scientists and a small security force. Exactly what the intelligence reports had predicted. The humans had not changed at all in 15 years. They still scattered their people across space in small, defenseless outposts. Open a communication channel, Krexith commanded. On research. Station Alpha, Jake Martinez received the incoming transmission. He looked at his officers and nodded. It was time to play their part. Human Commander, Krexith's voice filled the station's control room. I am Warlord Krexith of the Zephyrian Empire. 15 years ago, your species humiliated me. Today, I claim my revenge. Jake activated the response channel. This is Commander Martinez. We are a research station with no military value. We request safe passage for our civilian scientists. Krexith laughed. The same begging I remember. You will all die slowly, as prey should. But first, you will watch as I destroy every human world in this sector. We have sent a distress call to Earth, Jake replied, trying to sound desperate. They will send ships to stop you. Let them come. My fleet has grown strong. We have 50 warships equipped with weapons your primitive technology cannot match. Jake looked at Amy Foster, who was monitoring the quantum sensors. She held up 5 fingers, then made a fist. 5 minutes until the enhanced fleet revealed itself. Please, Jake continued his act. We have families, children. Show mercy. Mercy is for equals, Krexth snarled. You are prey. Nothing more. The Zephyrian fleet spread out around the research station. Their ships were indeed larger and more powerful than 15 years ago. Each one bristled with weapons designed to cause maximum suffering to their victims. Begin the attack, Krexith ordered. Target their power systems first. I want them alive when we board. Energy beams lanced out from 20 different ships. They struck the station's shields with devastating force. The human defenses, which were only meant to stop asteroids, and radiation, began failing immediately. Hull breaches on levels 4 and 7, reported Sam Roberts. We're losing life support. Jake nodded grimly. They had to make this look real. The station rocked under the alien assault, and real damage was accumulating. But they only needed to hold out for 3 more minutes. Krexith watched with satisfaction as the human station's defenses crumbled. Prepare boarding parties. I want prisoners for questioning, especially their commander. His tactical officer studied the scanner readings. Lord Krexith, should we be concerned about human reinforcements? Our intelligence suggests they have faster ships now? Faster ships crewed by the same weak prey, Krexith dismissed. Even if they arrive, what can they do against 50 warships? That was exactly what Lieutenant Kate Miller was thinking as she sat in the cockpit of her enhanced fighter. She was currently invisible, hanging in space only 10 kilometers from the Zephyrian flagship. Around her, 200 similar fighters waited for the signal to attack. Ghost Squadron, this is Flight Leader Miller, she whispered into her communication system. Target confirmation in 30 seconds. Kate's enhanced nervous system was directly connected to her ship's quantum drive. She could feel the weapon systems like extensions of her own body. The fighter's artificial intelligence merged with her thoughts, creating a hybrid consciousness that could react faster than any natural creature. On the surface of a nearby asteroid, Major Chris Stone and his enhanced infantry watched the space battle through quantum telescopes. Their dropships were hidden in the asteroid's shadow, waiting for their moment to strike. Stone to command, he whispered. Ground forces ready. We have eyes on 47 enemy ships. 3 appear to be troop transports. Stone's enhanced vision could see details that normal humans would miss. Each of his soldiers was connected to the others through quantum communication implants. They shared information instantly and moved as a perfect unit. Aboard research station, Alpha, the final minute counted down. Jake and his crew were in their emergency bunker, protected by the station's strongest armor. Real explosions shook the structure as Zephyrian weapons found their targets. 10 seconds, Amy announced. Krexith was preparing to give the order to board when his sensor officer suddenly screamed. Lord Krexith! Multiple contacts appearing throughout the fleet. What contacts? Krexith demanded. Ships, sir. Hundreds of them. They're appearing inside our formation. That was impossible. No ship could get that close without being detected. But Krexith's screens now showed enemy fighters materializing out of empty space. They were small, fast, and moving in perfect coordination. "All weapons, engage the human fighters," he ordered. But the human ships moved like nothing the Zephyrians had ever seen. They phased through solid matter, appearing and disappearing at will. Zephyrian weapons fired at targets that suddenly weren't there anymore. Kate Miller's fighter materialized inside the shields of a Zephyrian cruiser. Her quantum weapons fired at point-blank range, punching through armor that should have been impenetrable. The alien ship's reactor went critical and exploded. "Direct hit on enemy cruiser. 7, she reported calmly. "Moving to next target." All around the Zephyrian fleet, the same scene repeated. Human fighters appeared inside enemy defenses and struck with surgical precision. They moved faster than Zephyrian reflexes could follow and hit harder than physics. "Should allow." "Impossible!" Krexith roared. "How are they doing this?" His tactical officer was studying the scanner data frantically. "Sir, their ships seem to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our weapons can't lock onto them properly." On the asteroid, Major Stone received his attack order. "All units commence assault. Remember, we want prisoners for intelligence." 40 drop ships launched from hidden positions throughout the asteroid field. They moved toward the Zephyrian troop transports with inhuman precision. Each ship carried enhanced soldiers who had evolved beyond normal human limitations. The first boarding action happened on the Zephyrian ship Bone Crusher. 20 enhanced humans cut through the hull in seconds using quantum tools. They moved through the ship's corridors like flowing water, adapting to every obstacle. The Zephyrian warriors who met them were shocked. These humans moved faster than their eyes could track. They seemed to know where attacks were coming from before they happened. Worse, they fought with a cold efficiency that made the aliens feel like prey for the first time in their lives. "Report!" Krexith demanded as his ships began exploding around him. "We've lost 12 ships, sir. The humans are boarding our troop transports. And, sir, our warriors are being defeated in hand-to-hand combat." That was impossible. Zephyrians were 8 feet tall with natural weapons and centuries of combat experience. No prey species could match them in personal combat. "Show me," Krexith ordered. The bridge screens displayed feeds from inside the Bone Crusher. Krexith watched in horror as human soldiers tore through his finest warriors. These weren't the same weak prey from 15 years ago. They moved with predatory grace that surpassed even Zephyrian capabilities. One human soldier caught a Zephyrian warrior's clawed arm and twisted it until the alien screamed. Another human dodged 3 attacks simultaneously and struck back with force that cracked Zephyrian armor. "What are they?" Krexith whispered. His science officer had been analyzing the human fighters and soldiers. "Sir, they appear to be an evolved form of the humans we encountered before. Their reflexes, strength, and coordination are beyond anything we've seen." "Evolution doesn't happen in 15 years, Krexith protested. "Natural evolution doesn't, sir. But this appears to be artificial enhancement combined with selective breeding and genetic modification." Krexith stared at the screens, showing his fleet being systematically destroyed. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were winning easily. His ships, his warriors, his entire invasion force was being torn apart by prey that had somehow become predators. "All ships retreat," he finally ordered. "Jump to hyperspace immediately." But when his ships tried to leave, they found their faster-than-light drives disabled. The human fighters had targeted their engines with the first wave of attacks. The Zephyrian fleet was trapped in normal space with an enemy that could appear and disappear at will. For the first time in his life, Warlord Krex understood what it felt like to be hunted. Captain Nina Walsh crouched behind twisted metal wreckage on the captured Zephyrian ship Dark Fang. Her enhanced marine unit had boarded the vessel 15 minutes ago, expecting standard combat operations. Instead, they discovered something that changed everything about the war. "Command, this is Walsh. We have a problem," she whispered into her communication implant. "What kind of problem, Captain?" responded Major Stone from the coordination ship. "The Zephyrians have deployed biological weapons, some kind of airborne toxin. My Marines are showing symptoms of cellular breakdown." Nina looked at her soldiers. Corporal Jack Turner was bleeding from his eyes. Sergeant Lisa King was convulsing as the alien poison attacked her nervous system. Private Mark Davis had collapsed completely. "How bad are the symptoms?" Stone asked. "Bad. The toxin appears to target human DNA specifically. It's breaking down our enhanced cellular structure from the inside. This was the Zephyrians' secret weapon. They had studied human biology from their first encounter 15 years ago and developed a poison designed to kill any human who breathed it. It should have made boarding actions impossible. But Nina watched something incredible happen to her. Marines. Their enhanced immune systems began responding to the alien toxin. Their modified DNA started adapting in real time, creating antibodies that shouldn't have been possible. "Wait," Nina said, studying her soldiers more carefully. "The symptoms are changing." Jack Turner stopped bleeding and stood up. His enhanced biology had analyzed the toxin and developed immunity within minutes. Lisa King's convulsions ended as her nervous system adapted to resist the alien poison. Mark Davis opened his eyes and smiled grimly. "Captain," Jack reported, "I feel different. The poison tried to kill me, but my body learned from it instead." Nina ran a medical scan with her enhanced equipment. The results were shocking. Her Marines hadn't just survived the biological weapon, they had incorporated parts of it into their own immune systems. They were now immune to this type of attack and had gained new capabilities. "All Marines, report status," Nina ordered. "I can see in different light spectrums now," reported Lisa. "The poison enhanced my vision somehow." "My reflexes are faster," added Mark. "I can process information about twice as quickly as before." Nina realized what was happening. The enhancement program hadn't just made humans stronger and smarter. It had given them the ability to adapt to new threats instantly. The Zephyrian biological weapon had actually made her Marines more dangerous. "Command, the biological weapon failed. Repeat, enemy bioweapon has failed. My unit has adapted and gained new capabilities." On the bridge of the human battleship Apex, Dr. Ray Phillips received Nina's report with excitement. This was the breakthrough they had hoped for but never expected so soon. "Admiral Anderson, the adaptive evolution protocol is working better than projected," he announced. "The Marines exposed to Zephyrian bioweapons have developed immunity and enhanced abilities within minutes." Admiral Anderson studied the medical data from Nina's unit. "How significant are the improvements?" "Substantial. Their reaction times have improved by 40%. Their immune systems can now resist any carbon-based toxin. Most importantly, they seem to have absorbed genetic information from the Zephyrian weapon itself." "What kind of genetic information?" "Enhanced predatory instincts, improved sensory processing, some metabolic improvements that will let them function in hostile environments. The enemy just gave us an upgrade." Anderson smiled grimly. The Zephyrians had tried to use their most advanced weapon against humans and accidentally made them stronger. It was perfect irony. Transmit this data to all boarding teams immediately. If other ships deploy biological weapons, our forces will adapt even faster. On the Zephyrian flagship Bloodhunter, Warlord Krexth received reports about the failure of their secret weapon. He stared at the data in disbelief. "The humans survived our DNA-specific toxin?" he asked his science officer. "Not only survived," Lord Krexth, "they appear to have incorporated it into their own biology. Our weapon made them stronger." Krexth felt his world collapsing. The biological weapon had taken decades to develop. It was supposed to be their ultimate answer to human adaptation. Instead, it had become another tool in humanity's arsenal. "How is that possible?" he demanded. "Their enhancement program appears to include real-time genetic adaptation. They can evolve during combat to meet new threats. We've never encountered anything like it." Captain Vexistar's voice came through the communication system from his captured ship. "Lord Krexth, the humans who boarded my vessel, they're different now. Faster, stronger. They move like us, but think like them. It's terrifying." Krexth looked at his tactical displays. 30 of his 50 ships were now controlled by humans. His warriors were either captured or dead. Worse, the humans were learning Zephyrian technology and tactics faster than should be possible. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the humans are using our own weapon systems against the remaining fleet. They've reverse-engineered our technology in less than an hour." On the captured ship Bone Crusher, Sergeant Ben Clark was doing exactly that. His enhanced brain interfaced directly with the alien computer systems. Within minutes, he understood how their weapons worked and how to improve them. "These energy cannons are impressive," he reported to Major Stone. "But they're inefficient. I can increase their power output by 30% just by recalibrating the focusing crystals." "Do it," Stone ordered. "All teams, begin upgrading captured Zephyrian weapons. Show them what their own technology can do in human hands." Ben's enhanced fingers moved over the alien controls with inhuman speed. His cybernetic implants translated the alien symbols instantly. Within 10 minutes, he had not only improved the weapons, but learned how to manufacture better versions. "Major, I've figured out how to build improved versions of their shield generators. If we had an hour, I could upgrade our entire fleet." Stone smiled. This was what the enhancement program was really about. Humans didn't just fight better now. They learned faster, adapted quicker, and improved everything they touched. Begin implementing upgrades on all captured vessels. Priority 1 is weapons and shields. Priority 2 is life support systems. I want these ships better than new. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out on every captured Zephyrian vessel. Human marines and technicians were not just taking control of alien ships. They were making them better than their original builders ever could. Corporal Sarah Mitchell had been exposed to 3 different Zephyrian bioweapons during her boarding action. Instead of killing her, each exposure had made her more capable. She now had enhanced strength, improved reflexes, and the ability to see electromagnetic spectrums invisible to normal humans. "I can see their communication beams," she reported to her unit. "The Zephyrians are transmitting tactical data between ships. I can intercept and decode it in real time." "What are they saying?" asked her squad leader. "They're panicking. Krexth is trying to coordinate a final stand with his remaining ships, but half his commanders are requesting permission to surrender." The psychological impact of human adaptation was destroying Zephyrian morale faster than weapons ever could. The aliens had built their entire culture around being apex predators. Discovering that they were now prey was breaking their will to fight. Dr. Phillips analyzed the broader implications as he watched the battle unfold. Admiral, the Zephyrians are experiencing a complete collapse of their worldview. They can't comprehend how prey became predators so quickly. How long until their remaining ships surrender? Anderson asked. Based on current psychological profiles, I estimate less than 30 minutes. Their command structure is falling apart. Krexith is losing control of his own fleet. Anderson nodded. The battle was won, but the real victory was psychological. When word spread throughout the galaxy that humans had defeated the legendary Zephyrian Empire, it would send a clear message to every other species. Humanity was no longer prey. They had evolved into something that surpassed even the most feared predators in the galaxy, and they had done it in just 15 years. The age of human. Expansion was about to begin. Warlord Krexith had conquered 17 star systems and hunted 43 different species. He had never felt fear before today. Now, as he watched his war fleet being systematically destroyed by creatures that had once been prey, terror filled his ancient heart. "Status report," he demanded, his voice shaking for the first time in centuries. 18 ships destroyed, sir. 7 more heavily damaged. The humans have captured 4 of our troop transports completely. His tactical officer's claws clicked nervously on his control panel. "Sir, our warriors inside those ships, they've stopped responding." Krex studied the battle displays. The human fighters moved through space like they owned it. They appeared inside his formations, struck with devastating precision, then vanished before his weapons could target them. It was like fighting ghosts. "How many humans are we facing?" he asked. "Scanner readings are..." "Confused, sir. The computer. Estimates between 200 and 2,000 enemy contacts. They phase in and out of normal space so quickly that accurate counts are impossible." Dr. Ray Phillips sat in the command center of the hidden human battleship Apex. He was no longer the simple scientist who had served on Captain Brooks' exploration vessel 15 years ago. The genetic enhancements had changed him into something that could process tactical information faster than any computer. "Admiral Anderson, the Zephyrians are beginning to panic," he reported. "Their formation is breaking down. Krexith is losing control of his fleet." Admiral Troy Anderson nodded. His enhanced eyes could see all the battle data simultaneously without any strain. The upgrades to his brain allowed him to track hundreds of individual engagements while planning the next phase of the attack. "How are our boarding teams performing?" Anderson asked. "Better than projected. Major Stone's units have taken control of 6 enemy ships. The Zephyrians can't adapt to our combat methods." On the captured ship, Bone Crusher, Major Stone moved through corridors filled with defeated alien warriors. His enhanced soldiers had taken the entire vessel in less than 20 minutes. The Zephyrians lay unconscious but alive, exactly as ordered. "Command, this is Stone. Target secured. The aliens fought bravely, but they fight like individuals. When they encountered our pack tactics, they couldn't coordinate a proper response. Stone's genetic modifications had awakened ancient human hunting instincts that civilization had suppressed for thousands of years. Combined with enhanced strength and speed, he moved through combat zones like an apex predator. His soldiers shared information through quantum implants, making them function as a single hunting pack. "What's the condition of the prisoners?" Anderson asked. "Confused and terrified, sir. They keep asking what we are. I don't think they understand that we're still human." That was the most important part of the strategy. The Zephyrians needed to understand that humans had evolved beyond their ability to hunt them. Fear was as important as victory in changing the galactic balance of power. Back on the Blood Hunter, Krexith received reports from his remaining ship commanders. Every report brought worse news. "Lord Krexith," called Captain Vextar from the cruiser Night Stalker. "The humans are not just defeating our warriors, they're studying us. They seem to be learning our combat techniques in real time." "What do you mean, learning?" Krexith demanded. "During the first boarding actions, our warriors held them for several minutes. In the later battles, the humans adapted. They anticipated our moves and countered our tactics. It's as if they can see the future." Lieutenant Kate Miller demonstrated exactly what Captain Vexitar meant as she engaged 3 Zephyrian fighters simultaneously. Her enhanced nervous system processed all possible attack patterns and chose optimal responses before the aliens even completed their maneuvers. "Ghost. Leader to Ghost Squadron," she transmitted. "The enemy is using attack pattern 7 Alpha. Switch to countermeasure formation Delta." Her squadron responded instantly. 40 human fighters moved as one organism, adapting their tactics based on shared information. The Zephyrian pilots found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to predict their every move. "This is impossible," transmitted one alien pilot before his ship exploded. "They knew where I was going to fire before I did." Kate smiled grimly. The enhanced humans didn't predict the future. They simply processed information fast enough to calculate probable outcomes and prepare appropriate responses. To slower creatures, like the Zephyrians, it looked like magic. Dr. Phillips monitored the psychological effects of the battle on the alien fleet. "Admiral, the Zephyrian command structure is collapsing. Individual ship captains are making conflicting decisions. Krexith has lost control." "Excellent. Begin Phase 2. Anderson activated the fleet-wide communication system." His enhanced voice carried perfectly to every human unit engaged in combat. "All forces, implement intimidation protocol. Let them see what we really are." On cue, the human ships stopped using their quantum phasing abilities. They materialized in normal space where the Zephyrians could see them clearly. But instead of the small fighters the aliens expected, massive battleships appeared throughout their formation. The human vessels were unlike anything in Zephyrian experience. They seemed to be alive, with surfaces that shifted and adapted. Weapons that reconfigured themselves based on target requirements. Shields that learned from each attack and became stronger. "By the ancient hunting grounds," whispered Krexith's science officer, "those ships, they're not just machines. They're partially organic. They're growing and adapting in real time." Krexth stared at the closest human battleship. It was smaller than his flagship, but radiated power that made his sensors scream warnings. Worse, he could see movement inside, its transparent sections. The humans inside didn't look entirely human anymore. "Open a communication channel to their fleet commander," Krexth ordered. He needed to understand what had happened to the prey species he remembered. Admiral Anderson's image appeared on the Zephyrian bridge. Krexith stepped backward involuntarily. The human looked mostly the same as 15 years ago, but his eyes reflected light strangely. His movements had an inhuman precision that spoke of extensive enhancement. "Warlord Krexith," Anderson said calmly, "we meet again." "What have you become?" Krexith asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "We became what we needed to become. You taught us that the galaxy contains predators, so we evolved to surpass them." "Evolution takes millions of years," Krexith protested. "Natural evolution does. But humans don't accept natural limitations. We improve ourselves through science and will. The prey you remember no longer exists. To prove his point, Anderson gestured toward his bridge crew. Krex could see humans working at control stations, but their movements were too fast and too coordinated. They functioned as parts of a larger organism while maintaining individual creativity. You wanted to hunt us, Anderson continued. But hunters can become prey when something better comes along. Today, you learn what it feels like to be at the bottom of the food chain. Krexith looked around his bridge. His officers were all staring at their screens in horror. The human fleet had surrounded them completely. Escape was impossible. Resistance was futile. "What do you want from us?" Krexith asked. "Surrender. Complete and unconditional. You will order your remaining ships to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded. Your crews will be taken prisoner for questioning about Zephyrian military capabilities. And if I refuse?" Anderson's enhanced eyes seemed to glow in the dim light. "Then you'll discover what happens when apex predators decide that another species is too dangerous to leave alive." The threat was clear. The humans had surpassed the Zephyrians in every way that mattered. They could destroy the entire fleet easily. But they were offering mercy to defeated enemies. Krexith had spent his life as the galaxy's most feared predator. Now he faced creatures that made him feel like prey. The role reversal was complete and terrifying. I need time to consider," he said weakly. "You have 1 minute," Anderson replied. "Choose quickly. Evolution waits for no one." The communication ended, leaving Krexith alone with the knowledge that his species was no longer the apex predator of the galaxy. That title now belonged to creatures that had once cowered before Zephyrian claws. Admiral Troy Anderson stood on the bridge of his flagship as the final phase of the battle began. Around him, his enhanced crew worked with inhuman efficiency. Their movements were perfectly coordinated, as if they shared a single mind while maintaining individual creativity. "All units, begin the Hunter Protocol," Anderson commanded. Dr. Ray Phillips looked up from his tactical station. "Admiral, are you certain? The Hunter Protocol is aggressive. The Zephyrians came here to hunt humans for sport. It's time they learned what it feels like to be prey. The Hunter Protocol was humanity's answer to the psychological warfare the Zephyrians had used for centuries. Instead of simply destroying enemy ships, human forces would stalk them, track them, make them feel helpless and hunted. Throughout the battlefield, human ships began implementing the new tactics. They used their quantum phasing abilities not to attack but to appear and disappear around Zephyrian vessels. They would materialize long enough to be detected, then vanish before the aliens could respond. Captain Vextar watched his scanner displays with growing terror. Human ships kept appearing at the edge of his sensor range, then disappearing when he tried to target them. It was like being followed by ghosts. "Lord Krexith," he transmitted to the flagship, "the humans are toying with us. They could destroy us easily, but they're choosing to make us afraid instead." Krexith understood the strategy immediately. Fear was a weapon the Zephyrians had used for thousands of years. Now it was being turned against them by creatures they had once considered prey. "All remaining ships, form defensive formation around the Blood Hunter," he ordered. "Concentrate our firepower." But the humans had anticipated this response. Lieutenant Kate Miller led her fighter squadron in a demonstration of terror that broke the last of Zephyrian morale. Her ships appeared inside the alien defensive formation, but instead of attacking immediately, they simply flew alongside the Zephyrian vessels. The aliens could see them clearly through their viewports. Human pilots waved at them mockingly before phasing out of normal space. "They're playing with us," whispered Krexith's tactical officer. "Like we used to play with our prey." The roll. Reversal was complete and devastating. The Zephyrians, who had built their entire culture around being apex predators, were experiencing what it meant to be hunted by something superior. Major Chris Stone coordinated the psychological assault from his command ship. His enhanced empathic abilities let him sense the growing fear and desperation in the alien fleet. All boarding teams, begin Phase 2 of Hunter Protocol. I want every Zephyrian to hear the sounds of their ships being taken. On the captured vessels, human Marines began broadcasting the sounds of their operations throughout the remaining Zephyrian fleet. The aliens could hear their own warriors being defeated, their technology being captured, their ships being claimed. Sergeant Ben Clark had finished upgrading the weapons on the Bone Crusher and was now working on more advanced modifications. "Command, I figured out how to integrate our quantum technology with their ship systems. These vessels are about to become more dangerous than anything the Zephyrians ever built." The captured ships began powering up with capabilities their original builders never imagined. Human enhancements to Zephyrian technology created hybrid vessels that combined the best of both species' engineering. "Attention Zephyrian fleet," Anderson broadcast on all frequencies. "Your own ships are now under human control. Your weapons are in human hands. Your technology serves human purposes. You are no longer predators. You are resources." The psychological impact was devastating. On ship after ship, Zephyrian warriors began laying down their weapons. The idea of being resources rather than predators shattered their mental conditioning. Captain Nina Walsh had completed her mission aboard the Dark Fang and was preparing for the next phase. Her Marines, now enhanced by their exposure to Zephyrian bioweapons, moved through the ship like living shadows. "All Zephyrian crew members have been secured," she reported. "But Admiral, there's something else you need to know. The biological weapons they used weren't just designed to kill humans. They were designed to make us afraid." "Explain," Anderson requested. "The toxins contained psychoactive compounds. They were supposed to trigger panic and despair in human brains. Instead, our enhanced neural systems converted the compounds into confidence boosters. The weapons designed to make us afraid actually made us braver." Dr. Phillips analyzed this new data with fascination. "The Zephyrians don't just hunt for resources. They hunt for the psychological satisfaction of making other species afraid. When their fear weapons made us stronger instead, it destroyed their entire motivation for warfare." Anderson understood the implications. They can't comprehend predators who don't feel fear. It's breaking their understanding of how the universe works. On the Blood Hunter, Krexith was experiencing exactly that mental breakdown. His science officer had analyzed the human psychological profiles and delivered impossible news. "Lord Krexith, the humans show no fear responses to our presence. Their stress hormones actually decrease during combat. They enjoy fighting us." "That's impossible," Krexith protested. "All prey fears predators. It's a universal law." "Not anymore, sir. These humans have evolved beyond fear. They see us as entertainment." The word hit Krexith like a physical blow. Entertainment. The galaxy's most feared predators had become entertainment for evolved humans. The role reversal was complete. "Lieutenant, Kelly Brown monitored communications from Research Station Alpha, which had been repaired and was now serving as a command post. "Admiral, we're detecting surrender requests from 18 Zephyrian ships. Their crews are asking for mercy." "Grant their requests," Anderson ordered. "But make sure they understand the terms. Complete surrender, full cooperation with interrogation, and acknowledgement that humanity is now the dominant species in this sector." The surrenders began immediately. Ship after ship powered down their weapons and transmitted submission codes. The legendary Zephyrian war fleet was collapsing without, humanity even needing to destroy them. But Anderson had one more demonstration planned. He activated the quantum communication system and contacted every major species in the local galactic sector. "This is Admiral Troy Anderson of the Human Colonial Federation. I'm transmitting live footage of our engagement with the Zephyrian Empire. As you can see, the species once known as prey has evolved. The galaxy has new apex predators. The transmission showed human ships moving through space with impossible grace, enhanced soldiers capturing alien vessels with casual efficiency, Zephyrian warriors surrendering to creatures they had once planned to hunt for sport." Dr. Phillips monitored the responses from other species. "Admiral, we're receiving acknowledgement signals from the Centauri Republic, the Andromedan Collective, and 47 smaller civilizations. They're requesting diplomatic contact." "Of course they are," Anderson smiled. "They want to be on the winning side." The battle was over, but the real victory was just beginning. News of humanity's triumph over the Zephyrians would spread throughout the galaxy. Every species would know that humans were no longer prey. "All ships, prepare for victory formation," Anderson commanded. "Let's show the galaxy what apex predators look like." The human fleet arranged itself around the defeated Zephyrian vessels. Enhanced ships with capabilities beyond alien understanding. Crews that had evolved beyond natural limitations. Technology that adapted and improved in real time. Warlord Krexith watched the human formation with the dawning realization that his species' time as galactic predators was over. A new age had begun, and humans would lead it. The prey had become the hunters. The weak had become the strong. Evolution had crowned a new apex species, and they were more dangerous than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Commander Jake Martinez stood in the airlock of Research Station Alpha, waiting for the most important meeting of his life. Through the transparent walls, he could see the Zephyrian flagship Blood Hunter docked alongside his small station. The massive alien vessel was now under human control, its weapons powered down and its crew imprisoned. "Are you ready for this?" asked Dr. Amy Foster, who stood beside him with a portable medical scanner. "As ready as anyone can be to meet the galaxy's former apex predator," Jake replied. The inner airlock door opened, and Warlord Krexth entered under heavy guard. The 8-foot alien warrior looked smaller somehow, despite his massive frame. His ceremonial scars seemed faded, and his predatory grace had been replaced by the careful movements of a defeated creature. Behind Krexith walked Admiral Troy Anderson, whose enhanced presence filled the room with quiet authority. The genetic modifications had made him taller and stronger, but it was the change in his eyes that impressed Jake most. They held the confidence of a true apex predator. "Warlord Krexith," Anderson said formally, "this is Commander Martinez, whose station you attempted to destroy. I believe you owe him an explanation." Krexith looked at Jake with eyes that had seen 1,000 hunts across the galaxy. "Human Commander, I came here seeking revenge for the humiliation your species caused me 15 years ago. I expected to find weak prey ready for slaughter. And instead, Jake prompted, instead I found predators that make my kind look like scavengers fighting over scraps. Dr. Foster activated her scanner and began recording the conversation. This would become part of the historical record of humanity's rise to galactic dominance. "Tell me about your people," Jake said. "Help me understand why you hunt other species." Crexith was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of ancient tradition. "The Zephyrians have been apex predators for 10,000 years. We hunt because it is our nature. We take what we need and destroy what threatens us. It has always been this way." "Until today," Anderson added, quietly. "Until today," Crex agreed. "Your species has shown me something I thought was impossible. Prey that becomes predators through will and intelligence rather than natural selection." Jake studied the alien warrior. "What happens now? Your fleet is captured. Your warriors are prisoners. Your reputation as invincible hunters is destroyed." "Now we face extinction," Crex said simply. "When word spreads that the Zephyrians were defeated by humans, every species we have hunted will seek revenge. We will become the prey we once despised." Anderson stepped forward. "That doesn't have to happen." Both Jake and Crexith looked at the Admiral with surprise. "Humanity offers you a choice," Anderson continued. "Join our colonial federation as equals, or face the galaxy's judgment as failed predators." "Equals," Crexith snarled. "We are warriors, not diplomats. We do not serve lesser species." "Look around you," Anderson replied calmly. "Which of us is lesser now?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Crexith's claws extended instinctively, then retracted as he remembered his position. He was a prisoner aboard a human station, surrounded by guards who had defeated his finest warriors. Dr. Foster reviewed her scanner readings. "Admiral, the Zephyrian biological data is fascinating. Their predatory adaptations are impressive, but they lack the genetic flexibility that makes human enhancement possible." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "It means they evolved to be perfect. Hunters for their original environment," Amy explained. "But they can't adapt to new threats the way humans can. They're specialists who just met generalists." Crex listened to this analysis with growing understanding. "You mean we cannot change as you have changed?" "Not through genetic modification," Anderson confirmed. "But you can change through choice. Your warriors could serve alongside human forces. Your tactical knowledge could help us explore dangerous regions of space. Your hunting skills could be used to protect rather than destroy." "You would trust us?" Crex asked, his voice filled with genuine confusion. "Trust is earned," Anderson replied. "But everyone deserves a chance to evolve." Jake watched the exchange with fascination. Humanity had become powerful enough to destroy the Zephyrians completely. Instead, they were offering redemption to their former enemies. "What would you require of us?" Crex asked. "Complete transparency about Zephyrian military capabilities and territory. Cooperation in establishing peaceful contact with other species you've encountered. And a commitment to ending the practice of hunting sentient beings for sport." Crexith considered these terms. "And in return?" "Protection under human authority, integration into our colonial federation, and the opportunity to find a new purpose that doesn't involve terrorizing other species." The alien warlord looked out the window at his captured fleet. 47. Ships that had once been the terror of the galaxy now served human crews. His warriors were learning to work alongside the very prey they had intended to hunt. "I have spent my life as a predator," Krex said slowly. "I do not know how to be anything else." "Then learn," Anderson suggested. "Evolution isn't just about genetics. It's about adapting to new circumstances. Your circumstances have changed permanently." Jake realized he was witnessing the end of an era. The age of galactic predators hunting prey was over. In its place, a new order was emerging where strength served protection rather than domination. "I will need to consult with my remaining captains," Krex said finally. "Of course. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, we begin implementing the new galactic order with or without Zephyrian participation." As Krex was escorted back to his ship, Jake turned to Anderson. "Do you really think they can change?" "Everyone can change when the alternative is extinction," Anderson replied. "But more importantly, we need to show the galaxy that humanity leads through strength tempered by mercy." Dr. Foster downloaded her scanner data to the station's computer. "The biological analysis will help us understand other predator species we might encounter. This information could be invaluable for future diplomatic contacts." "Diplomatic contacts?" Jake asked. Anderson smiled. "Commander, this battle was just the beginning. News of our victory is already spreading throughout the sector. Every major civilization will want to establish relations with humanity. Some will seek alliance, others will test our strength. And we'll be ready for them? We'll be more than ready. We'll be apex predators who choose cooperation over conquest." 24 hours later, Krex returned with his decision. His remaining captains stood behind him as he faced Anderson in the station's main conference room. "We accept your terms," the alien warlord announced. "The Zephyrian Empire formally requests membership in the Human Colonial Federation." Anderson nodded formally. "Welcome to the new galactic order." Jake watched as human and Zephyrian officers began planning joint operations. Former enemies were becoming allies. Predators were becoming protectors. 6 months later, Jake stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel New Horizon. His crew included both humans and Zephyrians working together to map unknown regions of space. The galaxy had become a safer place under human leadership. Dr. Foster had been promoted to head of interspecies biology and was studying dozens of new species that sought human protection. Her work would ensure that future first contacts went more smoothly than humanity's encounter with the Zephyrians. Admiral Anderson commanded a fleet that included ships from 17 different species. The Human Colonial Federation had become the galaxy's peacekeeping force, protecting weaker civilizations from the few remaining predator species, and Warlord Krex had found a new purpose as head of colonial defense. His hunters had become guardians, using their skills to protect rather than destroy. Jake received a communication from Earth as his ship entered a new star system. "Commander Martinez, you are approaching the territory of an unknown species called the Vorthak Empire. They have refused all diplomatic contact and are reported to be extremely aggressive." "Understood, Earth Control. Do we have any intelligence on their capabilities?" "They appear to be another predator species. Preliminary scans suggest they consider themselves apex hunters." Jake smiled as he looked at his mixed crew of humans and former Zephyrian warriors. "Tell them we're coming for first contact, and remind them that the galaxy has new apex predators now." The New Horizon entered Vorthak's space with weapons powered but not targeted. In the cargo bay, enhanced human marines prepared for possible combat. On the bridge, Zephyrian tactical officers shared their knowledge of predator psychology. Humanity had evolved from prey to predator in just 15 years. They had defeated the galaxy's most feared hunters and turned them into allies. Now they were ready to bring their message of strength and mercy to the rest of the galaxy. The age of human expansion had truly begun.